We did it.
Our dog people. Yes. Okay, so we are officially live. Hello, good evening, everyone. Um, Welcome to tonight's Tuesday Groomers Cut. Michelle, do you want to give us a rundown first before we get into our favorite things about what has gone on with the list of people?
Yes. So pertaining to the Groomers Council of Standards of Care, we have already finished sending out all of the application letters for the nominees. So I am just waiting for all of them to trickle in. We've got quite a good response and from really talented and experienced groomers in the field. So as soon as I receive...
And how did you send them out?
Pardon?
How did you send them out?
I sent them through Messenger, and that way they could at least be because I don't have everybody's emails. But those are the people that got sent the letter and the application. If they couldn't open it up, then I would send it to their email after they contacted me. So we're still waiting for people to respond. A lot of people are coming back and looking at them because they were at other places, so they're coming back from those places. And
how many did you send out?
53 nominees. There are 53 nominees on our list. And if you think of anyone else or you yourself want to participate out there in Groomerland, please send me your interest and I will get you a letter.
Did you get Bobby Bauer of South Dakota? Did you get her name?
Yep. She was on the list. Yep.
Because she just said to me the other day she was interested in applying.
Great. Well, if you refer back to the poll that we had in our group, where you could nominate whoever you wanted, every single person that was nominated got a letter. Wow. So if you want to add to that list or you want to add a name, please let me know and we will get them a letter. I would like as many voices as possible. And we're forming an idea of a structure that will be fair and voted on by groomers for groomers. So that's where we're at with that. We're just waiting for all the people to respond.
Yeah.
Good work.
So, and there was a good conversations coming in over the weekend. Well, lucky me, got to have Michelle back visiting again. So for everybody new just tuning in, now that we're caught up, I didn't get to tell you, make sure that when you click on to the StreamYard, whichever platform you're on, grant permission, especially on Facebook, so that we can see your name. Otherwise, we're just seeing Facebook user in our comments, and we don't want to leave anybody out or just keep calling you Facebook user. So please be sure to grant it permission. You'll only have to do that once, and then we'll see you from here on out. So we've got some viewers watching, and tonight we decided to have a little bit of fun. The three of us, I think we kind of brainstormed for the last week about what our favorite things were.
Hard.
It was hard. So with that being said, if you looked, I'm going to click over on our Facebook page. I had posted a picture, our 3 pictures of our 6 can't live without. So please go on there, and underneath that, it was just posted 2 hours ago. You can write a comment and leave us yours because we'd love to see what you guys have on your tables as well.
So it's on the Pet Pro Educators Facebook group on Facebook.
Yes, and here I can do that right here.
Yes.
There it is. So if you go on our Facebook page, it's right there. So the one thing all 3 of us had in common was the Chris Christensen Coral Slicker.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time because I really do love the black one also for coarse and brush outs. So that was hard to pick between the 2 of them. But that fine one just, it's like butter. It's like butter. Why do you guys like it so much?
The first time that I saw that and I said, $64 for a brush. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
I will not. I won't use anything else now on dogs that have any amount of hair at all. It is the hugest time saver in my entire grooming career. probably almost tied with cordless clippers, because cordless clippers are also a huge time saver. But unbelievable what used to take me 20, 30 minutes to brush out. And I'm sort of known at my shop for doing the longer cuts and the bigger brush outs. I'll do it. People, I'm in a higher end suburb, and people we're in Chicago, it's colder weather, and people like their big fluffy dogs. And we have a lot of big fluffy clients. And I have Old English sheepdogs that I do every 2 weeks. And I have big doodles and Bouviers that I do every 2 or 3 weeks, and they are in full coat. And I can do a 20-minute brush out, nose to tail, on an Old English sheepdog that has 4 to 6 inches of hair, and I can brush it out in 20 minutes.
Wow.
Well, it used to be an hour with my old brushes. So
yeah.
So anybody who's known me for any length of time, they have seen my hair in all its states of glory and despair. I grew up having to demat my own head, so I do consider myself pretty experienced at dematting in and of itself. For the first 15 years of my career, I used an Oscar Frank slicker. That is all I used. My hand has muscle memory to the Oscar Frank slicker. I can't believe you can't even get them anymore. The reason that I chose that for the first part of my career is because I like that the fact that when I teach, if I know who's heavy-handed and who isn't by who's breaking their brushes.
Yeah.
I can make an Oscar Frank slicker last 5 years without cracking, as long as I don't drop it or step on it.
Yeah.
But then I've tried all iterations. I've tried the Lapooch. I've tried the knockoffs of Lapooch that have the movable pad, which were really neat for a while. And I too was like, are you kidding me? $64 for a brush over my dead pocketbook. And then I used one from someone. They were like, oh yeah, try it. I was astounded. It really is the best slicker that I have ever used. And,
Yeah.
And it paid for itself. I actually did the math. It paid for itself in the first 5 days of its use in terms of time saved.
Wow.
Because, and the other thing is now I signed up with Whitman's to be a distributor because I want to sell to my clients the things that I recommend. And so the only retail, I have a very small retail in the front of my shop, and the only thing I sell brush-wise is that. And it is amazing. People will say the same thing, $64 for a brush. And then I word of mouth does it, because they will come into me and say, well, I try to brush them at home, but it hurts. And I said, well, show me your brush. Bring me your brush that you're using. And they're all bringing, these $10 universal plastic slicker things from the big box stores. And of course it hurts. And the dogs are fighting them every step of the way. And every single one of my clients that bought it loved it, and says that the dog now allows them to do home brushing because it doesn't hurt. It's soft. The teeth are very, very soft, and they reach down, and they really like it. So yay, Chris Christensen, you designed the best brush ever.
It's a well-made brush.
I did. Yep. Now, how do you feel about the small? Because I even like the small one. I haven't used the medium one, but the small one for the little, like the Pomeranians and
it's great.
I've used
Papillons.
the small and I've used the medium, or I've used the small and I've used the black in a large and in a small.
And a small,
I
yeah.
have to say they're not the same. And I don't know. I think the reason why the Coral Larges work so well is because those pins are situated in such a way they're just catching the edges of the hair and pulling them out like a slicker should, and the other ones, I think the Coral Small, it just doesn't have the surface area to grab the hairs and the nice
surface area. Yes. Yeah.
So I find it's not convenient for me. I know people who love it and do feet with it and do little tiny, do the ears or whatever. I've not been successful with it. I just reach for the large. It works. I'm happy with it.
You're happy with it. Yeah.
I even use it on little tiny Yorkies and everything. I use the large.
And here's a little trick for folks to help it last longer as a brush for you. The pins are long and soft, but if you will never set it down on its face, always set it on its wooden back, Never put it in a drawer with other stuff on top of it. And always take your comb and comb down from the top of the brush towards the handle to run your comb through it to straighten the pins out and to get the hair out. And always, always brush in the center of the brush. Don't brush on the edges, like pulling on the edges. You want to brush right on the center face of it, because that's, if you brush, or if you try to brush sideways from the edges or something, you're going to pull the pins.
I've got more to add to that. Don't over UV light them.
Really?
It breaks down
the pad. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
we had that happen very fast when we were doing it in between every single groom. And they broke down, boom, boom, boom. And so we went from UV lighting once every time in between to just the end of the night and using the disinfectant during the afternoon or throughout the day.
And if you're working on a clean coat, it's less of an issue than if you're using that brush on a dirty coat over and over.
Yeah.
So if working on a clean coat, you can use a little disinfectant spray in between dogs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Another argument, I just had a discussion and the other people were asking me in a Facebook group about bathing before or after I cut. Absolutely before. I'm bathing everything first now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wash everything. The only way that I won't wash something beforehand, and it's rare, is if they have to be medically stripped because they're so pelted.
Yeah.
I can't justify putting soap and water on top of that pelt that skin's not getting anything. So I will take a special blade and a clipper and get that pelt off first, just because I know it's going to be better in the long run.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Can I just show this? Kim is watching us tonight. And I just want to show, hello, my heroines. Thanks, Kim.
Kim. And Sean's here, and Terry and Angie. Angie says that she UVs her brush after every groom, and it's perfect, but she only has one tray in her UV oven, and it's in the middle of the oven. So that might be a factor. Thank you, Angie.
If it's close.
Oh, yeah. And she said she found out exactly. Oh, she found out what the problem was. Got it.
Yeah.
A UV mine after every groom of mine is perfect.
Yeah. So that makes sense that it would not be so close to the UV light, maybe sitting in the bottom.
Got it. Okay. I'll give that a try, Angie. Thanks. Yeah. And for those, we can add now, Angie is our new instructor, and she's going to be doing all the salon sanitation. She came on Sunday and did a class for a couple of the girls, a 3-hour course. So that was really cool to sit in, and while I'm in the back in my office listening in, making sure she's going to be good at their job. No pressure, Angie. No pressure.
Awesome.
So I think we should list all of our tools and why we chose them.
Okay.
Yes, well, I'm getting there. So I started with that, and then I actually the next one we all had was the 5-in-1.
Do we all have that? Oh, yeah, we do.
Yep.
Well, yep. I have a 4-in-1.
A 4-in-1. I was going to ask because I couldn't tell what yours was.
I have the Artero Extron. Love. Making little heart go pitter pat. The Artero Extron 4-in-1. The Artero Extron, the Kenchi Flash, they all use this new 4-in-1 blade, which I like, frankly, better than the 5-in-1s, because the little 5-in-1, you have to move the knob and it's an external moving part. And the 4-in-1s, you actually hook it down inside the head, and there's no moving part on the blade itself. It's all done with a clipper. And I find that the blades last longer with the 4-in-1s.
Interesting. Does it have a different blade? Can you adjust the different sizes so you can go from like a 7 blade
to a 10 to a 40?
It's a 10 to a 40. Okay.
A 10 to a 40 plus there's attachment comes. But the Artero Extron, I have tried the Kenchi Flash. I've tried the Artero Extron. And of course I've, been using Wahl 5-in-1s for decades. I definitely love the Artero Extron. Love.
Weight-wise, how do you find it? And battery-wise, how does it last?
The best. Is it a
lithium?
Small. I don't know. I'm assuming it's aluminum, but
No, a lithium.
oh,
A
lithium.
lithium battery, not
Yeah, it
the.
is lithium.
I think all the newer ones are the lithium ion. Those are the ones that last the most.
Yeah.
It's smaller than any of the, it's smaller than any of the other 5-in-1 or 4-in-1 sanitary clippers, the lighter, smaller clippers. They're just, this thing is amazing. Artera Extron. Love.
Yeah, I'll have to try one. So at the school, we have the Motion, we have the Creativa, we've got the Bravura. What else is out there? We have one of all of
Arco.
No, I don't have the Arco, just because that's not the lithium.
Mm-hmm.
So all of their the Creativa, what's the new ones? I can't even remember now. They've got like 4 or 5 of them, and we have them all over. And weight wise, I do still go towards the Bravura first over the other ones. Yeah. Only because I found the Motion it's not as hardy. It doesn't seem as hardy. It doesn't seem to stick together as well, if that makes sense. But I really am finding myself actually kind of switching and grabbing the Creativa more and more.
I do have one of the new Kenchi ones available. Is it a flash?
Kenchi flash. Yes.
Yeah. And while that is very streamlined, very European, it's very sexy in the hand.
I love how you say that. It's very sexy.
It is. It's sexy.
It looks like
when you have it in your hand, it is a little bit like Star Trek because of all the dials and the things that you can do. But I find the design of it strange for my hand. But I will add a caveat to that. My hand is strange. I have an old injury. I don't hold tools regularly. I can't scissor correctly just because my hand doesn't open and close. So I found that a little bit hard to manipulate the way I do my Bravura, which has the one button and the little lever. And maybe I'm just old school and set in my ways. And I guess that's fine. I'm not mad at all the new stuff. It's just what works for me.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to let you try my Artero Extron. I love Kenchi, and I'm going to talk about them in a second with scissors like crazy. The Kenchi Flash is an excellent new 4-in-1 clipper as well, but the Artero Extron is smaller, lighter, and it's a lot easier to move your thumb around and make it change positions really quickly.
Yeah, I've not had that in my hand, so I don't have any experience with it, so I can't have really an opinion about it. But I would love to try it.
Yeah.
Well, Jennifer, maybe you can work on Kenchi and see if they'll send us each one to try.
Yeah.
Or Artero.
and Artero, whoever.
Yeah.
That would be great. Though we've been trying. I tried to get us the wide blades.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah. So we did. Somebody has a Sonda Lewis said she has the Spectra. I don't know the Spectra. I'm not familiar with that one.
That's a wall, isn't it?
Is that the wall? Let me.
Is that a wall? Sonda, is that a wall? The Spectra. And welcome to Christina from Falls Church, Virginia. That's very, very nice to have you here.
Yes, I was going to point that out too, Christina. I know Christina. It's an Arturo.
Oh, okay. And is it bigger than the Extron? Spectra. The Spectra, isn't the Spectra a full-size cordless clipper that takes regular blades?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
That's what I just went on it. I look like that is a beautiful clipper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty. And I love the color.
Oh no, the Spectra is not a full-size clipper. It is the 4-in-1 also.
Is it?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It says 5-speed control. I don't know which. It's not giving me that full thing.
Yeah,
yep, there it is. Yep.
Well, the main thing is that I think that you have a lot of the people that are on Groom Team and stuff that are out. Philip Schaffmeyer introduced me to the Extron, and I mean it's just amazing. And I love the Bravura. I've used it for years. I love all of the clippers, but this is really something.
Oh, Kim, the Kenchi isn't mine. It belongs to a colleague of mine, but he let me try it because I wanted to see, because I might have wanted one at one time, but after I've played with it and used it a little bit, I can't say that it's for me. But I know people that absolutely love it. So
Good.
And Sonda just said it's a 4-in-1, and you can also buy separate blades. So
Yeah,
I know what she's talking about. I have one similar. I have a Kiss, and I think that's by Aeolus. And the Kiss comes. That's why I'd asked you, Jennifer, about the different blades,
Yes.
because my Kiss comes with a 7, a 4, and a 3 that all change into 4-in-1s.
That's so neat.
And the Kiss just doesn't have the power. So I'm interested to see if the that Spectra, because I loved that being able, then that cuts out your blades.
Yeah.
You don't need blades if you can use that 5-in-1 for those small dogs.
Yeah.
Or 4-in-1.
Yeah. I saw Philip Schaffmeyer groom a Kerry Blue Terrier at the All-American last year with the Extron and some attachment comes every single part of the dog. He did the whole thing with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see someone do an actual, like, in a show as a class that has everything up there. So all the clippers,
Yes.
everything in one place that
people could compare
without being pressured by the companies or by somebody repping for them or a groomer that's repping for them. They could come in unobjectively and touch everything and feel it and hold them and see them and make a decision for themselves.
And I think you raise a really good point, because actually you want to feel it in your hands, and all of our hands are very different.
Yeah.
And the shear companies like Evolution that you work with Evolution, don't you, Dara?
Yeah,
you do. So the fact that they know that your hands are going to be different depending on your hands. What feels really good to I'm pretty small hands, and I must say that Extron I just love, but maybe somebody else would like something a little larger.
Yeah, Sonda said the Spectra weighs 9.1 ounces and the Extron weighs 7.1. That's a big difference.
Yes.
When you're using it consistently, that's a big difference, which is why I use the Wall KM10s, because they're so much lighter weight than most of them. Angie said body motion is very different too. It is when you have a heavier clipper in your hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fun. Wow, we are breezing through this, and we're like 22 minutes in, and we're only on our second one.
Well, we gotta go.
Going over. All right, what's our next one? All right, so 2 of us had a Dremel. Now, I don't know if it was the Dremel or the Dremel bit that was on there.
I wanted to put my Dremel bit on there, but I had to choose 6, and
we had to keep it to a certain number.
When I made my selections, I had my top 6. So I didn't include shears, and I didn't include any shampoos or anything like that. Just the brushing spray that I can't live without. So I figured scissors were a given, and scissors are so personal. So I didn't really include them in there because.
Oh, I put my scissors in.
I did too, because they're personal. Yeah.
It's unique to everyone. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I completely agree with you about the Dremel, and I have the $150 Whitman's diamond one, and again, worth every penny.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. I think mine is not necessarily the Dremel itself, but that bit. Game changer. That was an absolute game changer.
I actually like the 7300 Dremel itself with the battery pack. I know a lot of people say that they run out of batteries. I spent $11 and got 3 extra ones, and then I did it again. So I always have one stuck in the wall for the whole salon. So it doesn't really bother me, but I love the size again, because they fit my hand really well. I can manipulate them around the smallest toe or the largest toe. And when you have that bit on there, man, yeah, Whitman really did very well doing the Diamond Groove. It's really a nice bit. It's going to last you forever, and you can will it to another groomer because it's a lifetime type of tool.
And I can tell you, as a person who goes to dog shows, when we used to have them, we don't have them right now. A whole generation of show dogs in their prime. Oh, what's going to happen? It's going to be crazy to try to piece this together next year. Hopefully, if they come back. But in any case, in the dog show world, that Diamond Groove by Whitman's, that Dremel bit, people flock to the dog shows, flock to the Whitman's booth there to buy those. The dog show world loves that thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good on that one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That one was quick. All right. I'm going to switch us up here and we're going to go. So now this is where we all get a little different, I think. There was a comb, a couple rakes, and my favorite, the Chris Christensen brush cleaner.
Yeah.
Come on. That thing.
Very cool.
I love it. I give them away like they're candy. They go out in all my seminars. I'm like, here, have one. Students get them. I'm just like, it's like, I just love giving them away to everybody. I don't think I've given one to you yet, Michelle. I'll keep that in mind for the next time, unless you have one. But you said about switching your, pulling your comb through your coral slicker.
Right.
That's what the brush cleaner's for. It does it naturally and it's not damaging.
Yeah.
Metal on metal.
Yeah, you're right.
It scrapes together and it damages those pins.
Mm-hmm.
So,
by the way, I like that Sean Gadini is putting in her favorites, and everybody in the chat room, please do the same. That's a great list.
And I did put it on the picture too, because we have all our picture there.
And so when you all look at my picture of my favorites, my rake favorite is called the PS808. And I'm going to, again, hold my hand to my heart and begin to cry crocodile tears. They stopped making it about 3 or 4 years ago. You can't find them anywhere. I own 4 of them, and I treat them like better than I treat my children at times. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody touches my PS808s, and I take accounting for them. And when I share them, I immediately demand their return. They are just an incredible, incredible rake. It's just the engineering of the points. They go through a big heavy coat like a Newfoundland or a Old English sheepdog or a big heavy double coated dog. It just goes through it so beautifully and gets that undercoat out so beautifully and saves you having to shave down double coated dogs, which you should never do. And it's just but nobody makes it anymore. And there's some wonderful rakes out there. Aramco and Sam Cole make some wonderful rakes. But I like the PS808s because the point is finer. And so I'm going to make a little announcement on this event and ask for people's help, which is to say that I am so in love with that rake that I am actually going to find a tool and die guy, and I'm going to look up the trademarks on it, and all my husband's telling me all the stuff I got to do to see if we can duplicate it or come close to duplicating it because they've stopped making it. And I may come out with a rake in another year or two. We'll see.
Nice. So I'm just going to go into the comments really quick. Kat asked, she said she's never heard of the brush cleaner. If you look at our pictures, I posted on the Facebook page, I have all 3 of our pictures together. The brush cleaner is a little tiny, the little tiny palm brush, and it has longer black bristles, and it's made just for cleaning your brushes, your combs, and it's fantastic on your blades as well. And Angie said, what does it look like? Angie's in the same place. Jennifer's rake is listed and pictured in that. Yeah. So you can see those both there on that Facebook page. And then I know which one Michelle loves. Do you want to jump in, Michelle?
Oh, for my rake? Mm-hmm. I do love that rake, Jennifer, and I do have it in my toolbox, and it has lasted me forever, and it is a valuable tool, so I do still use it. But we were going for the top 6. Since I do quite a few hand strip clients, so Andis came out with their green and white wide rake. And that was amazing.
Yes.
And then they came out with a black rake that was fine tooth and it doesn't pull and it really does cut the time down carding out those jackets.
That's in my top 10 for sure. I love that tool.
It
Yeah,
has
we need to
cut my
re-add those.
time to hand strip dogs out. It's just cut my time in half.
It cards. It actually cards without using a stripping knife to card out a coat. So instead of holding a stripping knife and using it like a comb to card out a wire coat, instead you're just using an ergonomically handled rake and you're getting the same stripping effect. You can basically do almost a full hand strip without so much as touching a stripping knife. It's amazing.
Well, if you were rolling a coat, you could absolutely do that. You still have to do the actual pulling, but
Yeah.
it cuts that time down into nothing. It dethatches a coat like crazy.
Yeah.
So I really love that one. And then the other comb I have in this category is I've got a cheapy little fresh comb that feels like it's made out of air. It is so lightweight. I love it. It is my favorite go-to comb. That is the one I use. And I also have a Workhorse honeycomb from Aramco. But this fresh comb, this company is a new concept, and they make really inexpensive combs and really inexpensive shears. And your shears, if you're just beginning, if they dull, you can turn them back in for a small fee, and they'll give you a whole new set when you're done with those.
And so it's called Fresh.
It's called Fresh.
Yeah.
So it's a really good option for people who are starting out, who need good tools. And their combs are made out of aluminum or some type of aluminum alloy. And literally it feels like you're holding air, except you're combing this out. Now I demat with the Coral Slicker, and then I check my coat with this tiny air-filled comb. And it puts the right amount of pressure. It keeps you from putting any kind of pressure on those mats or on the skin. And it is really a nice fluffer as well. I really enjoy it.
And I have to tell everybody, and we have an audience of mixed age, but all of us here, we are more experienced groomers is a nice way of saying that we're probably all over 50. I'm over 60. I may be the oldest of the bunch. But I am telling
between
you,
the three of us,
the older I get, the more I appreciate a lightweight tool.
Yeah.
And people do not realize, you youngsters that think your hands are going to last you forever, you should take the weight of a tool into account.
Yeah, it does. Firsthand, that leads right into my shears and why I am with where I'm going with my shears because of that. So it is so true. I'm just going to go through and answer some questions here that I'm seeing pop up. We talked about the brush cleaner, and the brush cleaner is like $6. It's ridiculously cheap, which is a good thing. Everyone's favorite website. Sonda wants to know is that everyone in the group or the three of us and who we order from, Sonda? So let us know what a little bit more on that. Christina wants to know, Christina Robertson, will we have a list of the best after this call? I think we should write down everything we've talked about. I've been trying to take notes and keep up with that, but have a list of everything we've talked about for people to be able to reference to. So that's a great idea.
I mean, and if I can say to Sonda about the websites, I mean, you guys can all, name the ones too, but I use them all. I use locally here in the Chicago area, Midwest Grooming Supply. I use Love Groomers. I use Groomers Mall, Groomers Choice. I use King Wholesale. I use, what's the one that used to be New England Sturm, Pet Edge. I use them all. I order from everybody.
I do too. Wherever I can find the tool or the thing that I'm looking for is where I order from. I'm not only tied to one supplier. So. And
I've even ordered from Chewy lately for some grooming supplies. They usually have.
So have we. We have to. Cindy's gotten on and done that also, and I was like, "Whoa, we found the best carding and de-shedding, and it's plastic." Yeah. And it's ridiculous that we got it on Chewy's, but it's great for what we do, and I like it for students.
They put 30 blades on sale sometimes for $18, or $20. Yeah, it's nice.
So, all right. Any questions on those? We're going to move along because we're at 35 minutes and we're down to products. Michelle and I each added a product.
And I had shears.
You had shears and I had a shear also. So I think this is where we kind of diversified here a bit. Go ahead, Michelle, you start this round.
I use, if I can exclusively, Yves Saint Bernard H270. And there's several reasons why I love it. There's several reasons why it is in my top 6 favorite. I will actually travel with it if I don't travel with anything else.
And I can vouch for that because she brings it every time she comes to the academy.
I love that stuff.
Is that it has ingredients in it like green tea, silk proteins, things that are very nourishing, as well as a anti-static. It's a biphase product, which means you have to shake it. It separates, but it is so delicate, and it coats the hair in such a way that it doesn't matter what type of coat you use it on. You can use it for dematting, detangling. You can use it as a finish spray. You can use it as a scissor spray and a polish. Yeah. It just makes the coat better. It just does. There's something in it. It's the way that it's formulated, and it never weighs the coat down. It's never heavy. And I use it on almost every single dog. So
I've actually seen it on especially on some of the shorter coated dogs with the drier skin. I have seen it literally just the skin just drink it in. It's just, it's wonderful. I love that stuff. Mm-hmm. Yves Saint Bernard H270. Yes.
H270. Yep. So might have to message you guys to get all of to compile our list. But yeah, so I kind of went, I think similar, probably not as high end and not as well formed as yours, but I went with the Chrome Coat from Show Season. Conditioner, just adding that in when we do the close, open, close, and we add that in on all 3 steps, the way that coat just comes out is it just glides, and it seems to make life so much easier to have that. And you only need, depending on the size of the dog, 2 to 10 pumps. Mm-hmm. But it is a conditioner, and I did contact the Show Season to ask about it because it says conditioner, but you can add it into your shampoo as well when you're trying to de-shed those double-coated breeds. So contact them, ask them about it if you're really having questions about it and wondering what and how to use it properly, because the directions are not great on the bottle. That's one thing I will say. It was very open. It didn't have great instructions on why or how.
You should help them write a new marketing. You're very good at marketing too. Thank you, Bobby, for giving us your list of your favorites too. That's awesome to see.
Yeah, write them down under our little.
I don't know what a Spratz comb is, Bobby. I would love to know what that is.
Spratz comb.
Happy hoodies. Oh yeah, happy hoodies.
Happy hoodies. Yeah, that's another great one.
Awesome.
So I want to ask you what your favorite shear is. What your favorite brand of shear is?
So I have both Kenshis and Senseis are tied for chunkers. And for the big poodle combs and stuff, I love my Senseis and I love my Sensei curves. I absolutely think the Jonathan David Lightning thinning shear is the best thinning shear ever, 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 ever. It's a Kenshi. And I also like my Kenshi Shinobi as my sort of basic straight shear. So I would say Kenshi Shinobi and Jonathan David Lightnings, and the Sensei chunker is unbelievably head and shoulders better. And I really, really love my Sensei Rev curves shears as well. So yeah. Sensei,
is that what was in your pictures? What one was in your pictures? You have 3 in there.
I have the Kenshi Shinobi straight,
okay,
basic 8-inch shear.
Yep.
Jonathan David Lightning thinning shear and the Sensei chunker.
Is the thinning shear, is that the small one?
Yeah, it's got the diamond lightning bolt on it.
Okay, yeah, I can see. It's hard to see I've got the picture shrunk down, but
and I just want to say to everybody that might be watching this, whether now or later, that it is worth it to spend that extra $150. Get yourself a really good $250, $300 pair of shears, and take good care of them. It's worth it.
Mm-hmm. So my favorites, as far as shears go, would be Zolita and Utsumi. I am left-handed. I'm a true left-handed groomer. And I've also had an injury that I now have a grooming claw instead of a hand. So my needs for shears are very specific. They have to be lightweight and they have to be sharp. My very first Utsumi purchase, it took 5 years before I needed to sharpen it. I love Utsumi.
That is amazing. Sorry for the barking. Even with this.
I have an Utsumi curved, and which you can flip because it has a rest on both sides. I have the Utsumi very tiny chunker, which is amazing. I wish I could get a longer one, but again, it's really hard to find shears and chunkers and thinners in a left hand that suit me.
Yeah.
So then I found Zolita, which there's a whole thing about that, but we will bypass that. Zolita shears are also a really good, economically higher end shear that are phenomenal, lightweight, and they cut the coat just like butter. You see those really fancy videos that the groom team makes, and they're saying, "Oh yeah," and you just go clip, 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 and it's just coming off like it's a hot knife through butter. That is Zolita. I have their straights. And I am waiting for Calibri, the little tiny shear, to come out in a left-handed. So Zolita and Utsumi are my top shears.
I'm all Evolution.
Yeah.
I'm all double swivel. It's the only thing that saved my career from scissoring. Michelle's seen my hand and how bad my palm is messed up from gaiters for 20 years.
7 surgeries. 7. On my wrists and hands. And I never thought I could make the switch to the Evolution shear, but I've tried it and it does help my hands. I love it. Yeah.
Well, I can thank my friend Katie Heckela she took a class with Pam years ago, and Evolution was just on the market, and Katie went and was like, I'm bringing home Evolutions for Dara. And she did, and that's the only thing that kept me grooming for the last 10 years, 9 years. So the double swivel, it is not for everyone. We all know it's very personal. But I'm very happy to say that I do like to start all of the students that come into the school on them and teach them scissoring and swiveling. And it's hard when other instructors come in and are trying to show them different angles, but it's good also because I do have the Evolution non-swivel, because they do have a non-swivel, they're Pro Series, and they can scissor with those as well. So they get to learn both. And it's how many places can say they can get to learn both?
Exactly. Arius Eckert, Sean, showing your age. I had Arius Eckert as well, long time ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Those are good. Sean is talking about the old Guibe's feet. I have a pair of handmade by Mr. Guibe Sr., who has long since passed, and the company has split between the two sons. By the way, you all know the whole Dennis Guibe is now a sensei because he didn't like the way that his brother took Guibe to China, but they still make really good scissors. But especially for people who like a very substantive scissor. But I have a pair of 45-year-old handmade Guibe cheetahs made by Mr. Guibe Sr., handmade in Florida back in those days. And I still keep them sharp and I still use them. They're amazing. Yeah.
Those were really good. So funny story, until I was at Intergroom it was last year when I was at Intergroom, my whole box for my seminar for Sheer Joy was taken from the classroom with my entire, it was so devastating. Hundreds. I cringe about it. But I had my guides in there. And at Nash, when I started in 98, we got 8-inch. And I show the difference between the 8-inch guide and 15 years and how short mine had been. And they were 5.5-inch from all the times they were sharpened.
Wow.
And how short over those years. And it's devastating to have them in somebody else's hands, but to be able to just show
Whoever
that
did that book,
difference.
please give them back.
I know, it was my whole box. It was my clippers. It was everything I used for demos, and it was a container. Oh,
That's tragic.
it was. Oh, it was so awful to have that missing. And I know they looked in the room and all over. So, but I wish I still had those, because those 8-inch, 3 inches of metal was gone from the number of times it needed to be sharpened and how skinny it was getting.
Wow.
But
well,
yeah.
I have to tell you, ladies, I'm going to actually have to sign off now, because guess what? In 15 minutes, I have to be at a shopping center 3 miles away for my first massage since my hip replacement. And the doctor has finally given me permission to have to resume my massages. So I have to sign off, but I have loved this. This is great. You guys keep going.
This was good.
Yeah.
Well, we're good. We're at 45 minutes. We only went over 15 minutes. Not too bad for us. And so we'll be back next week. We can stay on for a few more minutes. We should have another fun one.
Pardon?
We should have another fun conversation.
We might, because we're still, if you know anybody who's been nominated for the Groomers Council of Standard of Care, and they have not yet given their application back to me for future voting, let them know, get it in. If you find anyone who is interested and is credentialed who wants to participate in this endeavor, please let me know and forward their information to me so that I can get them an application letter. So that's basically for the next couple of weeks. We're going to wait for those to trickle in before we move forward with that endeavor.
That's good. And if you know people that haven't voted yet or haven't been added to our group, I'll go ahead and post that banner again. Add them to our group so that they can see and they can be proactive in that. We, like Michelle has said earlier, we love the proactive people. We have to be invested in this one way or another. The more voices, the more people we have, the better off we're going to be. So we've got some other comments. So yeah, that's it. So what do you think for next week, Michelle?
Let's see.
Any ideas? Anyone still on? Terry, Derek, talked me into the evolutions at the show.
You know what I want to talk about? I would like to talk about for next week how we talk to each other about our techniques on Facebook and otherwise. Let's start practicing good debate on when you disagree with someone or you're trying to question their facts or their technique. There is a way to say something, and then there's a way to not say something. So I would like to discuss how we interact with one another on a public forum when discussing science or technique in grooming.
That's a great one. And just being courteous to each other in general. That's good. Do you want to take the lead on that?
Sure.
Yeah, you should, because I want to grow up and be just like you. No, not that way. Not with the claw. Okay, come on.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And that anybody who has anything they would like to add to the discussion before the next video, just whenever she posts that we're going to have that discussion, just start entering all your comments. You know, have you had any bad experience with a colleague? Have you had any good experiences with a colleague? You know, how do you debate disagreement with somebody who is in the field? So, you know, I'm interested in what you guys have to say.
Yeah, that's great. And if anyone would like to be a guest on the show, please reach out to us. We love to have, as you've seen, we love to have people join us and speak next to us and come sit in on this panel with us. So if you want to do that as well, and you have some ideas that could contribute to the greater good of this, we'd love to have you on board. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We will be back on our normal times next week. Share the group, share the page, share the cause, and we will see you next week.